if on your job you have people, now we won't use derogatory terms, who are stupid, incompetent, using too much haste and not the correct speed, overly rambunctious when cutting holes out my ceiling. We will show you later how we repair it and put it right.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
That's not very nice, is it?
Didn't revert his feelings.
Measuring stairs, building a step, finishing a floor, starting to plaster are a few things that we've got left to do on this job. And also, we need to talk about at some point the covering this block work, which is going to be render at the bottom up to where the top of the screen is now, so bed here, and then at the top there we're having a nice cladding. We haven't gone into that yet, but we will do in depth, and we'll have a little video for you because myself and Matt actually went to visit K-Rend in Belfast in February. So we did a little video while we were there, while we were doing our little rendering course, if you like, just to familiarise ourselves with the product, because that's what we're going to be using. So we can talk you through that a bit closer to that stage, and then we'll put the video on for you as well, maybe in the midweek, maybe a Tuesday or something, or whatever, just a bit of an extra, just to see me and Matt going through the processes of that and enjoying ourselves in Belfast. So we'll go through that with you. Right, let's have a look what we're up to first. Beads is what Matt's doing this morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning. This is where we left ourselves on Friday. I have just started to clear everything up. Can we get everything out of Matt's way now? All the tools up, all the timber. All this will go, get everything gone, ready for Matt to start getting pink on the walls again. I am going to build a step for there. We've already talked about it. I'm not going to say any more. I'm just going to do it. We've already talked about it. I'm going to build a ladder frame up for there, up to this floor level. So Matt can then run the plasterboard up, and then he can get around the perimeter of there, beaded as well, ready to do his ceiling. And then I've got to put a piece of timber across there to run what will be the 9mm ply on top of this floor, which we've already talked about, over the top of that, onto the timber there, and put a bit of insulation there. That is the basement down there, like you can actually see. There we are, into the basement. So I've got to get those jobs done. And have a look at this extractor as well, I think. Try and get that in there. And hopefully that all goes in lovely. If it doesn't, we're in trouble, ain't we? It's all plastered and painted now. The ducting is there, look, you can see that. That's the ducting we put in a few episodes ago. So I will connect onto that. We've got some flexi square ducting. I'll connect onto that and hopefully fix this in place. That's another job we're going to do. So we'll just get on with it, I think. other than a slight conversation between myself and Matt this morning in terms of what we've got to do first, that time lapse and a little bit of footage there is the start of our day. All I've done off camera then is you can see that on that ladder frame I've just put to level the floor up, I just put some brackets on it, fixed a bit of 2x2 to the wall, put some brackets in it just to sturdy that bit of frame and also that wall across that span of the stairwell. What I've done then is, as well, is I've just put a bit of insulation there, 150mm in there now, 3 lots of 50, just to stop the bit of cold spot that comes from the cellar down there. There may be plans in the future, who knows, to insulate this floor better from underside, but that's going to be something that will be done way in the future once all this work's done. What I'm going to do now then, oh yes, of course, I forgot to mention Matt, didn't I? Can I forget Matt? Down there, look, skimming away. He's done his reveals and got all the crap parts on, as he says, all the crap bits, so when he hits it tomorrow, he can hit full walls, not little bits like he's doing now. So my plan now is to tackle this step. I haven't really got a plan as such yet. Only thing I will say is I've got to build out past this, and a bit of that 3x2 CLS is just right to come past that. So that on edge may make a bit of a ladder frame up there just to fix onto the face of that bit of end there, end of the floor. And then, got my voice can't change it a little bit. Then I've just got to work out my height from there to there and halve it and make sure my steps equal. Allowing for the 9mm ply that's going on there. I got a piece of 9x2 on there, piece of 9x2 there, screwed them together, so then the weight of that is carried by that, all the fixings and the glue across the back, and then that's screwed directly into that. I'm going to call it a trimmer, but it's not, it's just, what would you call it normally, a rim board or something on the edge of your floor joists. What I've done then is I've doubled up some of the 3x2 just to get me past this level here. I've put the this 30mm glue in there just to make sure that when it's gone off I get no squeaks. That's my aim really for that. Then what I've done is I've worked out, if you remember from before, we're having 9mm ply on top of that. So let me take my headphones out so I'm not shouting. 9mm ply on top of that. So I've then worked out from the 9mm ply to this finished floor is 314mm. I've then halved that at 157. I've then taken off my chipboard thickness and then allowed the riser from the floor, this finished floor, to here to be the same. So I've just cut all these. These are all sort of cut so they go over the top like that. These will all go like that on top of there. All glued and screwed. I'm going to put some foam on the bottom of this one and that will glue and screw directly into that to make that solid. And then the chipboard will sit on top of that. I'll then cut another piece of timber to go on there like that with a 22.5 degree miter on there. That'll go like that. And then this has got a 22.5 and a 45. And let me just see if you can catch that on camera. I think you can. Yes, you can. All I've done then is 22.5 there and then a 45 to touch the floor. So that wraps around like that. And then I'll cut my chipboard, sit it on top, mark it and cut it exactly the same. 22.5 degree like that, and that will be my step. All I have to do then is get my saw out, cut a piece of timber, which is about 6mm, because this 9x2 is 6mm bigger than a piece of this this stuff. Because I've doubled that, I'll have to cut this down to make sure I can put that on top of the step then, and then I can form a riser, a bit of chipboard riser or whatever just there, to allow the floor layer to come down and finish the steps like that. That then gives us a tread of 295mm. So I'm happy with that. That's a big enough step. We don't have to come any further, because if we do, it's going to protrude too much into this walkway, and we don't want to do that. So there we are. What I'll do is then I'll take all this apart. I should put a bit of music on for you, and we'll put all this together and talk about next stages. And there we have it. The step is all complete, and I'm now using the customer's phone, which is a Google one. There's mine, look. Dead as a dodo. I've been using it all day and I completely forgot. Yeah, so I did all that. The only thing you would have caught me do with a hammer, I just took the hammer to these miters a little bit just to soften it off, because that will now be finished by the floor layer when he brings his flooring, I'm presuming, and likewise that he puts some kind of nosing on it. There's 9mm ply got to go on there yet, so I've accounted for that in my rise of this step. So in effect, that rise there is actually 10mm lower than this one. So there we are, that's done. Matt is all prepped downstairs. You can see, just there, look, as I showed you earlier, he was doing his plastering. He has boarded all this now, this ladder frame that I put on earlier. And you can see there, look, if I just do that, you can see the beads all around the edge, all ready to go. And what he has done is, let me just bring that back, there we are. And what he has done then is, he's allowed this plasterboard then, you can see, just to come up 10mm. So when the 9mm ply goes on, that plasterboard is still going to be higher than the end of the ply. So you can't see the end of the ply here. That's what he doesn't want to happen, because unlike conventional balustrading, the customer is having a glass one. So I'm presuming it would be like sort of poles almost. Newel posts, sorry, but round ones with a cap end on, and you just fix them to the floor as opposed to solid base rail. So we won't have any chance to hide that if we don't do what Matt's done there. So that's well thought out. I am going to the warm roof extension job I've got going at the moment. Brick is finished. He wants me to go and put the wall plates on for him. And we've had all the doors and everything measured again today, check measured. So there we are. So I am going to leave this now in the capable hands of Matthew to do some skimming. Over to you, Matt. Well, I hope you enjoyed that bit of time lapse from Matt. He is still going. He's had an early start today. I've been prepping my jobs for the day and then I've been shopping to fetch the materials I need. We'll go through that in a minute, but let's have a look at it and see what he's up to now and what he's got left. There it is, ceiling was done in one go. 3 bags, you say, Matt?
Yes,
ceiling?
3 bags.
3 bags. He's done all this wall, which he'd done before I left. That's all finished. And he's just laid on that wall. And that wall. And that's you wrapped up then, isn't it?
Not wrapped up yet.
No. No, but I mean, when you've done down here.
Yeah.
Other than that toilet, but that's when the stair goes. And we've already talked about this. Stairs going, then we'll form the structure for the toilet. And then we'll board it and skim that in one go. Rather than trying to do bits. But what Matt has done to allow him to keep going, he's obviously put a bit of board on and put his scrim tap there to stop it cracking, and likewise he's done there, and I believe he's going to do the same here as well. Put a bit of board, scrim it to do this wall, so we can do that wall and all of that wall then. That joint where this bit of stud will meet there's a cupboard or something going there anyway, so you'll never see it. If you are long-time viewers of the channel, you will know that we did 2 cold roofs here, and we were struggling to find a good product that wasn't, or should I say that hadn't got really bad reviews for lasting, someone that didn't start to go wrong or start to come apart or just was rubbish to install. So we came up with our own method of venting the cold roofs. I'll go through that with you now very quickly because we've already talked about it before. Show you where we are at the moment with it, and I'll then discuss what I'm doing, which we'll then see in the time lapse. So this is one of our cold roofs. Matt is currently plastering below me. If you remember then, we put some laths on the wall there, we put a bit of 18mm ply on it, and then we've fiberglassed up to there. My plan now is to fix a batten on the wall, about 3 or 4 inches up, and then I'm going to put the lead on top of that. I'm using an alternative lead for this instance, which is a lot better, I think anyway. And then I'll fix it to that, and that will then drop down over the top of that, and the 25mm will give us a space off the wall, and we'll still have a bit of an air track for it to carry on venting. Now I haven't got to chop this one into the wall because when we put the cladding on, we can come over the top because we're double lathing, because I want to put in 1 batten on there, we'll double lath and the cladding will come further over and come over the face of this, so we can pretty much come down this one anyway. So that looked quite nice because the 25mm lath you can see there, another one will come about there, and then the cladding itself, so it'll come nicely down the face. So that looked pretty good. So I think I'll just crack on with that. Right, I'll try and talk through my plan as I do it. So I've got a piece of lath. I'm just going to mark a 10mm margin on the back, all the way down, just to make sure I can try and keep my lead as parallel as possible. And this 10mm isn't specific to anything other than just what I think it should be. And all it is just to run the lead over the back to then tack a felt nail into the lead, and then I'll show you in a minute what I'm going to do. I'm then going to fold it over the top of the lath and then dress it down the face. So I'll tack it on the back of there, dress it over there and dress it down the face of there, and then fix it onto my block work. But I'll have my lead sticking up in the wall. Once I've tacked it, I'll have my lead sticking up like that. I'll then fire this into the block work, so I can use my nailer, because Paslows are going to these fibre lock blocks lovely. And for the sake of this, it's not structural, it's just going to hold it until the cladding goes over the top of it. And then once I've fixed it, I shall then dress this lead over the top and go over the top of that, and then have a bit of like a 2 inch or so air gap at the bottom of the lath to the top of what is that you can see there, and that'll give us our air gap. And there's no other way we see we can do without using off the shelf, but we did that many reviews and quite an intensive sort of look at products we can use, and they just weren't good enough. So for what we wanted, so this is our method. We think it's good enough. Comments below what you think, but this is what we're doing anyway. So if I just set this on here now, what I've done, I can see that on the camera, I've just chamfered this off a little bit, just so when I dress my lead, it dresses in a bit nicer rather than a square edge. So I'll get this the right orientation now. So that's the top, that's the back. Get my lead sat on here now. So this is the alternative lead stuff. It's got like a stipple effect to it. I think it's quite nice. It does finish it off quite nice. So I'll just take this, let me just get this the right way around first. So I'm doing that like that. That's going like that, isn't it? So I need to do that the other way. So when I dress it over like that. So let's take the right face off to start with. There's a protective film on it first. So let's just take that off. Don't think it really matters whether that comes off the back or not, but so I'm not going to see it, but I'll take it off regardless. This is a lot more lightweight than normal lead, but it's just as cumbersome to use. Oh dear, it could do with a couple of people, but Matt is flat out downstairs, so I shall struggle through on my own. Right, that'll tack on there now. Like that, I'll put that right on my corner. Let's just make sure that goes in the right place. If that goes on there like that, and that dresses over like that, that'll be about there, overhang. That's right, there we are. Right, I'll put my first nail in there now. Just attack that on the end. And I'll repeat that process all the way down to ready to fix onto there. And then when I stand it up, when it's done like that, that's what it'll be like. I'll fire it to the blockwork and then dress it over the face. That's the plan. I'll crack on with that and see if our plan works. Try again. I left the radio on, talking away, and I thought, oh, I'm singing away to the music in my head, thinking, oh, that's got to be off. Right then, so that has worked rather well, even if I do say so myself. There is a void now, as you can see, just there, look, about a 2-inch void. What we do with that corner now to make it look tidy once to start looking at the cladding, we will deal with at that point. If it means an extra piece of lead just pushed up the back and then dressed over the face of that one, and then an open end there instead, then we will do that alternatively, but I'll leave that for now in case that's why we want to do it. But that's why I chamfered my batten off, just so I could dress it around nice and tidy like that. There's balustrades to go and everything there, so that's a bit of a anomaly at the minute as to what when we put together all the bits in that corner or that on that face, what it's going to look like. So I'll leave that for now. As you can see, that's a bit of a stipple on the face of it, but it does go quite tidy. Use is exactly the same as lead, but like I say, it's an alternative instead. It's just like almost like a bitumen type roll, you know, the flash band. It's almost like that, but it's not. It is an alternative lead, and the brand I've used is this one there, ICO. So there we are. I've done a lead mastic bead across the top for now, just to seal it in. As I've already mentioned, once the cladding goes on, that'll be sealed anyway. I've dressed it down as best I can for now. I don't want to mess with it too much. When the heat gets on it, that will settle itself. And if I need to just tap it again gently against the face of that, face of the roof upstand there, then I will, to make it nicer. That will remain as it is for now, just dressed against the brick wall. That is all sealed in that corner anyway with fiberglass. But I'll leave that for now. We'll see where we are in terms of the connection of the cladding against the render, and then we'll deal with that when we come to it. All I've got to do now is go on to what was the garage roof, which is now more the utility, to do exactly the same procedure, other than I will have to screw it on, not nail it on, which is unfortunate. It won't quite be as quick, but I'll do exactly the same as that. I'm not going to film it, I'll just show you when it's done. So that one is done as well then. The only difference being is I had to fix the batten on the wall first rather than nailing it on, and I used a 60mm hammer fix Love those fixings, ideal for this kind of fixing that's required. Nothing too structural, just a batten, which is what they're mainly for. And just under the pipes there, you can't really see, but there's a joint there. I've just masticed that in, and that is at the joint at the point where the block work meets the brickwork. We'll be putting the cladding up to that point and go around those pipes nicely with some kind of a scutcheon or something if I can find one, and it'll cover that joint anyway with the cladding, because we'll bring the cladding further down. Now, as you can see, that is sort of sitting a bit flapping at the minute, but I'm going to let that settle because it's been in the sun. So I'll let that settle, then I can dress that down a little bit better. But ultimately we don't want it really tight anyway, because that's our ventilation for the cold roof. That looks nice and tidy. I've put mastic along the bottom. I've took my wedges, cut it into the brickwork, so you can just about see it there, can't you? Where I've cut my brickwork. I've pushed it into there, I've put my wedges in, and then I've lead masticed across the top to seal it all in. And like I said, over that point from the block work, that will all be covered with clad pretty much anyway, down to maybe 100mm off the roof. I've just cut that off as well. We have got a cover plate with a built-in fly screen en route to cover that up. So that'll be here tomorrow, hopefully, via the old Amazon. That'll be great. So let's go and see what Matthew has been up to while I've been messing up here. Ooh. There's some more pink on the wall. That one's done, and this one is also done. You can feel the warm in here, can't you? It generates the warmth, doesn't it? Yeah. Or is that just coming off you?
Both.
A bit warm in here. Tomorrow then, that wall tomorrow?
Yeah, just
what your plan?
Obviously what we can do, which is pull the big wall in, see what we're going to decide about the toilet.
Mm-hmm. Maybe to the side you've already talked about regarding that bit of board there, just put a touch of board on.
I'd much rather tie it in than not.
Well, yeah, and just like you've done there, bit of board, scrim the corners so you can skim that in, and then we'll do exactly the same there, and I can just put some 3x2 packers on there and pull the timber out so it comes here to catch this board and then the next board coming through here. That'll work.
Correct.
Right then, bit of a tidy up and make a plan for the ducting upstairs maybe, do you think? Getting an extractor in? That's a two-man job, isn't it?
Yes.
Two-person job. Sorry, two-person job.
Thing.
No, it's not. No, don't go into there. Yes, okay. Right, what I think we're going to do now is go and sit with the customer, and we're going to go through the Stairbox app, and we're going to input all the measurements that I've gathered together so far. And after this footage, what I will do is I will explain to you what the measurements are in terms of floor to floor, ceiling to floor, and tell you why again. I've gone through it already, but I'll discuss it with you whilst we're sort of looking at the app at the same time. Right then, I've just sat with the customer. We have gone through the app, and I spoke to a very helpful gentleman called Sam. And if you can see at the top of the screen, bottom of the screen, can't remember where it is now, I will show you now. There is a reference that if you get a bit stuck or you want a bit more information, you can call them. They can then look at what you are looking at live, and you can discuss it with them. So I gave him my floor to floor ceiling, floor to floor height, sorry, which is from there, where your stairs are going to hook onto there, and that's all the way down to here. Things to remember, if you know you're going to have something like an oak floor or something like that on here, then you'll need to allow for that when you're doing this measurement. Just like I have allowed for the 9mm ply going on that floor there, I've allowed for that in my height. So I know that when I put my stairs in, I'm going to make sure that my nosing that goes at the top of the stairs is flush with the 9mm and not with that chipboard flooring. I know that we are having Conding on here, LVT, so I haven't got allowed anything on my height other than a couple of mil. That's all I've done. You then have to put input into it is the ceiling height, which is a finished plasterboard, again, to floor, to finished floor, bearing in mind your floor covering, again. You then have to go from here to the point where you want your stairs to finish. Now what I did with Sam on the phone, I actually gave him this opening size, which isn't normally your going on the website. It's normally the point where your stairs finish. Now if you've got existing stairs and you're changing them, you'll be able to mark it on the floor and then measure it. Now we were sort of thinking, if you remember, we're going to finish about here, which is 2990 from there to this pencil line. However, when, like I've talked to you about before, and it's on their website, you can look at the head height checker, which is why you have to put in your finished floor to finished floor and your ceiling to finished floor. This is what it allows you to do, is check your head height, which has got to be 2 meters from here when you stood on your stairs to a tread. We've had to move ours in to 2951, so we've had to come in 40 mil because we were quite tight on our, I believe it was our second step. So it'll come up from here, step up, step in. When it steps up again, from that one, the second one from this floor, it was tight. It was going to be under 2 meters. So therefore, we've had to pull that measurement in. The other one is, the customer is having a handrail and balustrades. He's having like this is an oak stairs, and it's a glass embedded balustrade, which will look lovely. And you have to allow, so you have to input this width, or in your case as well, just make sure you input the narrowest part. We are about 10 mil difference from this end to that end, just because we put this wall in after this floor went in. So this is the narrowest part, if you like, so I'll give them that measurement. What they've then done for me is they've then inputted it into their system and given me a clear null post width with my stairs on here. Now I'd originally looked at 870 before we realised there was null post things to go in, and it's actually now reduced to 815. And the reason for that is, Matt, have you got a pencil please? Sorry. Thank you. Little drawing for you. So if we come in a little bit, there we are. So we just come back a little bit. You've got a null post like that. And your stairs stringer, which is the bit that carries all your treads on your stairs, that comes up like that. And obviously continues down to your floor. And then when your handrail goes on, let's say for argument's sake, that's normally about 90 mil square, that is, roughly. 90 mil by 90 mil. I think it is anyway, something like that, depending which design you have. And then they've had a handrail that is, I think he said it's 57 mil. So if you imagine that's your handrail, sits on top above your stringer then, like that. What you've got to have, you have got to have a clear, I mean that's your handrail. When you've got your hand on that handrail like that, you've got to have a clear 20 millimeters from there to any obstruction. And in this instance, just get my tape out again as a pointer. That there is our only obstruction. So when the null post sits over the top of that stringer, and again you'll see all this fitted when we come to it, you've got to make sure that when the null post goes in, I've got a clear 20 mil, so I can run my hands up the null post, up the handrail like that, and I'm no closer than 20 mil to that wall there. You've got to do that. I do believe that's part of building regs. So it's ended up now that even though my opening is 870, I've got a stair width now of 815 mil, which means that from my other stringer, which is there like that, I've got from this stringer, from there to there, opening is 815, despite my opening being 870. Because I've got to allow for this to stick out, and also the clear 20 mil on that as well. So there we are. So we'll go through that in more depth when we come to it. Any questions, stick them in the comments, and Matt will answer them. What you, Matt?
Can I say it?
No. I will. Boring. Right then, let's go on with something else. Well, I thought I'd start my day with a bit of trauma, cutting holes out of fresh plastered ceilings to find cables. The only ones we were slightly close on was these ones. You can see, and you see it on there, we're right close to our little 200mm square, but we knew that anyway because we wanted to make sure that we got these equally spaced, which meant that was going to be right on the edge of the joist. We knew we were going to be close, and we were, so luckily we were bang on with that. We drew our little plan on the wall. We adjusted it a couple of times based on whether our plan said off finished walls or block walls, and then luckily Matt remembered that measurement there, because we measured it off the 4x2 on the ceiling. For those of you that have been watching for a while now, you know what I'm on about. We've built this out, so obviously this is wider now by one width of that CLS 3x2. So luckily Matt remembered, and we took it off this measurement, and then we luckily dropped it in the middle of our box there, so that's great. Matt is upstairs doing a bit of bonding on a mistake that I'm not going to say that I made, I'm going to say that we made. All right.
We did.
We did. So the first bit of his bonding and boarding he's got to do is just that little square there.
And
Now when we did this,
and for the viewers' information, that's not a mistake by Richard.
no, that isn't my mistake. No, that isn't anyone's mistake. That is, we didn't quite know what was happening with the step, whether we're going to build this step out to this point, and then have a step down. But as it was, we all decided that to leave it there rather than pulling it out to this point. So I think originally we were thinking about pulling it to here. Hence, it wouldn't have mattered because that would have been covered when this come out to there. So anyway, sorting that out now. He's going to do that, and then he's going to have a look at my mistake up there. My middle, yes. But we'll go into more depth of that later on. Bit of bonding, bit of board.
Unibond on the joint as well.
Unibond on the joint of the two boards.
Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
Just to stop the suction, so you take away the chances of a crack.
Oh, okay.
If it's too dry, it's just going to split because you're not.
So the edge of the board's too dry. You've just put a bit of Unibond on the edge of the board on this one.
Here.
And on that one as well.
Just there
Okay.
as well, yeah.
Okay.
Because now, if you're doing skin, you've got less chance of it stopping it cracking because we're not scrimming it.
Yes.
So we're not going scream and then going all over a freshly plastered and now painted wall.
Yeah.
So we've got to butt up to it. So we've got to make that joint as solid as possible.
Right.
So what I've done is I've unibonded it after V-cutting it as well. You'll see up there in a minute when we describe it. I've gone around the edge with the Stanley knife to form a beveled edge.
Oh, on the edge of the board, yes, I can see that, yeah.
And also that's been unibonded as well to stop any suction.
Right.
Again, we'll go over that in a minute, but this, and then just to add the strength back in it, you know, or possibly going to cover the skirting, whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
However, because the joint might show, bond up to it, because the bonding is going to be a lot stronger than the finish, and then just take it off the joint.
Plus, I suppose it's quite a bit of a space out where it could be kicked or whatever if it's not plastered, not skirting boarded.
And it is stronger than just board. And then just level it off. We can leave that for the moment.
And will you leave that flush, or will you have to pull that back a little bit to allow for the thickness of skim? Or
So on the joint there, once it's pulled in,
yeah,
go across the line,
yeah,
just to create a skim line, and then yeah, we will just take it back slightly. Because you're only talking a little bit, a couple of mil, aren't you, with skim?
Yeah. And you said you use the fat out when you plaster, just a bit of fat that's. I'm the one that's had to loosen my belt after my holiday. ½ inch. Ridiculous.
There we go.
So first stages, we have put that disc in, a bit of 9.5mm board with a bit of CT1. As Matt's already said, he's chamfered the edge of that board as well. That's the first stage. And then a bit of Unibond over the exposed edge of board then.
Yeah. So this was done with 12.5mm. The reason I've used 9.5 is exactly the same there. We want to put as much strength back in this ceiling. Even though, you know, I mean, vertically challenged as I am, you know, you're not going to go along and start banging the ceiling, but let's put as much strength back in it as possible. So 12.5, that would have come virtually flush with the skim, you know, and then obviously the skim of what we've done originally. But I want to just pop some bonding in it, and if you can see that, just to add some strength. Why wouldn't you always try and add as much strength back into something as you possibly can?
Does that mean there's less chance then of it cracking and seeing like a ring on your ceiling almost?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Same.
So just make sure that the consistency of your bonding's there, so you can work away, so you get it into the edge of the board. Because yes, with CT wand it. I'm going to say CC Penison. Yes, CT wand.
Finally, yes.
Yeah. And leave it slightly proud, because it's still wet. If you start messing about with it, you're just going to hollow it out. But so long as you've forced it up there. Now the board was cut using one of the circles that we took out for the spot. But that's fine as it is there now. And you can trowel it up, get it nice and flush, cut it back, and then we'll skim over it.
Nice one.
So back at it. As previously, hang on, let me put my sports teeth back in and stop sucking butterscotch. Butterscotch. Sorry.
This
Right.
isn't very good, good TV, is it?
Oh, take two. Right,
Go on then.
we're back at it.
Right. What are we doing?
Right, as I said before, I like to trowel it over, so this is now gone off to the point where we're ready to lay the skim on. Now, because we're jointing up, if I'd have put that flat to the bead and flat to that wall,
Yeah.
without scoring back,
Yeah.
cutting back, the finish has got nowhere to go to. So you'd be basically...
So is that face there
Yeah.
a bit further in than this one?
Just a touch.
Just a touch.
Just a touch.
Okay.
But to make sure that you get enough, just use the toe or the heel and just take that back, and then the finish has got somewhere to go to.
Okay, so you put a V groove there where the bead is and a V groove
Yeah.
where it meets the plasterboard. Okay.
Because if it was just plasterboard and the bead went onto the plasterboard, that's flat, that's ready to go, that's a couple of mil.
Yeah.
But if you're putting finish on a flat surface, it's going to hump.
Yeah, it is.
And that's where it, now that, it's not a problem as such, even though you still do it. Now up here, this is where it is important, because you've got an open area of ceiling, which is perfectly flat. Oh. Meow. It is perfectly flat. So all I've done off camera before I troweled it up, I ran along. If you look at the curvature,
The curvature.
yeah, of my trowel, it does go over. So when you go across it, it takes a little bit out, so it's like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, you've got somewhere for the finish to go.
And you've done the same all around the perimeter
And
of
just-
that hole.
yeah.
You've just knocked like a V groove out.
Just, I can do it with the toe of the trowel. You can do it with the screw, a nail, a small tool, and we've got to stop it. Anyway, and now that's got somewhere for the finish to go to. You clean off all your plaster fat around, so you've got nothing there. That can be wiped off afterwards, should you want to.
Or just like a wet sponge or something.
Yeah, or a dry cloth after, microfiber cloth, that'll take that off.
Right.
And especially with the finish. Now, all this becomes, as you've seen before, and we can pip it or whatever.
Does it matter at what stage your plaster's at?
As in,
So that looks like it's... I know you've skimmed downstairs, we'll show you in a minute
Yeah.
what he's skimmed. He's already done down there. So what's left on his board now is just what you call the fat, don't you?
well,
Which it's not quite gone off, but it's not as sloppy as it was when you put it on the wall.
it's still usable for me. It's still usable. Now I'm using this knowing that it will pull in at the same time as that, and I can trowel it up and keep on top of it, no problem. Now, for anybody doing it as a beginner, DIYer, improver, just take your time, knock up some more. You only need a cupful.
Okay.
I'm glad my sports teeth were in for that. Right, and again, working it away. So you fill all your edges, and just like you would anything else, lay it on, come back to it in 2 seconds after you've done the other patch, and double it up.
Okay.
Again, down here. Do it upside down, work away, clean it off, work away, clean it off. Always keep your joint nice and clean. All of this you can brush down after, and you are going to double it up. So, but that plaster has gone somewhere now, hasn't it, as you can see.
Yeah, it's gone into the grooves.
Filled
into
that edge.
The edges and the, the bead.
Go with the straight edges, and then you're not going to pull it into all sorts of shapes. Again, just clean it off. That'll all wipe down and repaint after.
Leave it for a bit.
Leave it for a bit, and I'm going to double it up in a minute, just when that's stabilised on top of that undercoat. Up there. Whoops. There's your ears.
That's a microphone, boss. Oh well.
Oh God, can't be trusted. Jesus Christ.
So, normal time frames of leaving plaster before you give it a final polish off have occurred. And you have now polished it off. Let's get down here. And you can't really see.
Touch the joint.
No, give us your trowel.
Go on then.
You
don't want to do it with that one.
Oh, hang on, have you checked it?
No, because it's got a massive curve in it, hasn't it?
That's pretty good to me, that is, Matthew.
Yeah, but don't forget you got the where it's worn away over the years of travelling and use.
It's a good excuse, Matt. Stick to that one. Good excuse, Matt. Yeah, nice one. What I can say is, you can't feel any ridge or anything at all there. The proof will be when it's painted. That's when you see it.
Of course it will.
But I'm confident that you won't see that.
No.
And the same with that one. Oh! Who's put that there? Yes, when it's painted, I'll show you again, but I've just walked into that one. I've just put it there. Because the next job is we are going to attempt to put this extractor in. It's in the box down there. We've got to attach the reducer. We've got to attach the square flexible ducting onto that first with a little bit of the ducting. So we'll gunk and silver tape it onto there. And then on the other end of the square ducting, we have then got to fit this, which reduces us from the extractor, that end, back down to the ducting that we've got, which ultimately, when we put this square ducting on, will be gunked and zip tied and taped onto that. And hopefully, all being well, it'll be great. That was all a big setting up and getting it ready prior to plastering. So let's hope all the setting out and working out, it's all worked, shall we? Well, we could be showing you some more hints and tips of how to repair ceilings after they've been painted, couldn't we?
We could.
There we go. Or not. That's coming up next. We thought about filming the whole process, but you know what? No, it's an absolute pain in the derriere. So what we've had to do, typically our feed is to the left on the extractor, but to the right in the ceiling, and it can only go one way because you can't see it from me. I'll show you in a minute. There's a set of numbers here where the polished iron is, and they'll be the wrong way around if we flipped it. So we can't do that. However, happy accident with it, I suppose, is it just means that when we get this now and we lift it this way and push it up, at least the ducting is going to be supported. All we're going to do now is swap ourselves around and pick this up a little bit so Matt can then get into here to finish connecting that ducting. Oh, you can't see it. We've basically put it in there like we did before, taped it all, silver tape, like we've done with that one there, look. And then we even put some of this duct tape, or good quality duct tape on, just to stop it moving. We don't want this to pull, you see, once you start to connect it, which it shouldn't do. So we're going to adjust ourselves, push this in the ceiling. We are already plugged in up there, so hopefully, I don't think we'll be able to try it because I don't think it's wired in yet, because if I understand rightly, that lot of wires there is one of them is the feed to up there, so we can't actually get it on working, which is a shame because you could have tried it, couldn't we?
We could.
So there we are. We will endeavour to get this up. Oh, and also we've had to cut these brackets a little bit, because what you do, you push these brackets up and that there, look, then clips onto your timber. But if you've been watching the channel, this is a false ceiling, so that there is as much as I can go. I can't go anymore, and these brackets were originally set, so it was 35mm. So I've had to cut them off. That one, if you look, I've had to cut it off a bit smaller. So when that goes up, it clips on top of there. That side's okay, because as you can see, it's a bit smaller, because I had to make up the ceiling there with a bit of batten, because my other main 4x2 is behind this. So I've had to make that up there. And then what we have to do is put the screwdriver in the holes under here, push that up, and then tighten them up then until this bit sits on top of the timber and it clamps. This bit clamps to there. Right then, let's get on with this then. That was the biggest
ball ache.
Oh God, what a shocking thing to fit that was with the space that we've got. The brackets, poxy, just a big bag of no. That's what that was. It's in, it's done, it's fixed, it's not going to come out. That's it.
Looks good.
It does look good, in fairness, it looks good. And when we can turn it, look even better. We have had a good tidy up. We have covered the hole now, since we're not here for a few weeks, because we are now waiting for the kitchen. Will be there. We are waiting for utility, that'll all be in there. We're waiting for the lovely oak with glass balustrade handrail for there. Matt has done all of. Is it locked up downstairs, Matt?
No, mate, should be.
Matt has completely finished, up to date. I do, as far as we can get anyway, to the point where we can't plaster anymore. We've already talked about it, but that's all, that wall's all done, look. That wall's all done. It's all complete in here now. Just needs to dry, and then by the time we come back, I dare say this will be painted. And when we do come back, we've already said, stairs will go in, that wall will go in, it'll be skimmed, and then that can start doing joinery. Albeit for the floor, wait for the floor to go in, so you can put the skirtings on top of the floor. So there we are. We're going to go now, aren't we?
We're going to say toodaloo.
Toodle pip. We are going to another job, which may or may not be on the channel next week. We've got to speak to Adam and find out where we are with filming of everything else. You'll be aware from Wednesday's video that he has gone away with his family this week, so there'll certainly be no footage from the country house, I think it's called. You have to forgive me, I should know really, shouldn't I? The country house series on the Wednesday, where Adam is currently doing all the brickwork for it. And if he's not been working his garden, there might not be any footage for that either, had there? So who knows? Let's wait and see. I suppose from me and from Matt in the background there, look, just locking the place up and securing it as we walk away. We will see you next week.